I'll show you how basically works the tool V-Ray Light using the plane type. It's needed to use this particular tool with awareness, keeping in mind that it's a simple backlight simulation, a tool whose specially produces soft and diffuse light commonly used in photo studios. As usual, let's create and assign a default V-Ray material to all objects we have in the scene. Then let's place in the scene the element who allow us to do a photo shoot, the V-Ray physical camera. In the previous lesson, we didn't change any parameter in the V-Ray physical camera. But in this case, since there's no V-Ray sky and considering the neutral environment, we set the white balance on neutral. We will do this setting every time we will have a V-Ray physical camera doing an interior shooting. Now let's place a V-Ray plane into the scene. Put watts as unit and set the intensity, basically the multiplier, on 200 watts. Load the test preset we created in the lesson 2 and start the render. As you can see, the image results a little bit underexposed. To increase the general brightness of this image, we can follow two ways apparently very similar. We can increase the V-Ray light multiplier, or we can increase the exposure time by lowering the shutter speed in V-Ray physical camera. Let's follow the 5SRW method. Since we are in artificial lighting conditions, the first thing to do is every time setting shutter speed to 50 and only after increase the intensity of light just if necessary. This is because in the real world shutter speed to 200 is fine with the sunlight, which produces a high amount of light, but under condition of artificial light, as in this case, shutter speed to 50 is considered a consistent exposure with reality, given that the artificial light produces a quantity of light considered medium. Already much better, but still need a little of light. So increase the value of the V-Ray light from 200 to 300. Okay, let's try 500. And it's perfect now. An interesting option of the V-Ray light is Store with Irradiance map. Activating it, we approximate shadows, accelerating the calculation with Irradiance map. It is evident from this comparison that the shadow on the left is less defined, but the calculation is faster. For now, keep in mind this feature. In the next lesson we will use it to our advantage in order to reduce the computation time without losing significant details in the image. In V-Ray as well as in reality, the lights can be neutral, that is white, warm, tending to the red, or cool, that is tending to the blue. It is possible to simulate this characteristic of light using the temperature option. With values greater than 5000, we will get a cool light. And using values lower than 5000, the lights became warm. The size of the VRay light is another important aspect to take into consideration. Just like in reality, a very little light will produce a very defined shadows. While a big light of this type will tend to wrap the object, thereby producing a more diffuse shadows. So far, we checked all these changes using the test setting, as studied in the lesson 2, and the rendering regularly. But V-Ray has another incredible tool, very powerful, that helps speed up the work. It is V-Ray Real Time. To enable it, just click Active Shade. At this point, instead of the Render button, we find a new one, Active Shade. Click it to start the real time, and what appears is a new window where any change we make to the scene and to the various objects is immediately displayed, as I already said, in real time. To do not display any warning messages, in the render setup, click on the V-Ray RT tab, and at the bottom disable the option for messages. In the real time we can check the cool lights, and the warm lights using the values seen before. We can check how the shadows change aspect, changing the size of the V-Ray light, we can move the camera and see immediately the effect. And we can change the intensity of the V-Ray light. With V-Ray RT, especially with the more powerful processor, all the work of preparation becomes much faster.